The last breath flames floated across the sky like falling stars. A black alien warship hovered above the ruins of a human base. Metal burned. Bodies lay still. Smoke covered everything. Nothing moved. Nothing lived. Commander Zirla stood at the edge of her control deck. Her sharp golden eyes looked down at the battlefield below. Her blue skin shimmered under the ship's red emergency lights. She didn't blink. Skin again. She said quietly, "All human life signs." "Gone," replied her officer. "Nothing left." Zirla turned to face her crew. She slowly raised her hand. Finally, she said, a cold smile forming, "The last human is dead." Cheers broke out behind her. They had hunted humans for years, planet by planet, ship by ship. The war had been long, bloody, personal. Now, it was over. But then a shadow moved, not on the ground. On the wing. Xera La froze. Her smile faded. She turned back to the window. A sheep slid into view outside, on the wing of her ship, a human figure, armored, scarred, standing tall in the firelight. He looked straight at her. And smiled, alert. A soldier shouted, "There's something on the port wing." "That's impossible," said another. "No one could survive that blast." Zirla stepped forward, her voice sharp. "Zoom in." The screen blinked. There he was. A man. Alive. Dirty, burned, but standing. His face was calm, a small grin on his lips. Xera La stared at the image. "Identify him." The computer worked fast. "Identity match, Captain Kade Moran. Presumed dead." Xera La whispered. "We watched his ship explode." "It did explode," the officer replied. "He shouldn't be alive." Zirla narrowed her eyes. "But he is, outside." Kade moved slowly across the wing, his steps steady. Despite the shaking metal, fire lit up the sky behind him. Ash drifted like snow. He reached the edge of the window and placed his hand on the glass. Xera La stood on the other side. They locked eyes. No words. Just history. Kade turned and jumped. Not down. He vanished upward. Out of view. "Send a squad," Zirla shouted. "Now." But when her soldiers reached the wing, it was empty. No man. No tracks. Just one thing left behind. A small metal plate, stuck to the glass. One word was carved into it. "Surprise." In the command room, silence returned. Xera La gritted her teeth. "Prepare for lockdown," she ordered. "He's somewhere inside the fleet." "Inside?" her officer asked. "How?" "Doesn't matter," Zirla said. "Find him in a dark corner of the ship." Kade moved through the vents like a ghost. He had been here before, years ago, during peace talks, before the war, before everything turned into death and smoke. He remembered the halls. He remembered the faces. And now, he was back. Alone. But not weak. He had come for something, not revenge. A message. Later that night, a strange signal appeared across the fleet screens. It was short. Simple. A single voice clip. Played. "You forgot one." Then silence. No location. No trace. But every alien soldier who heard it felt something sharp in their chest. Fear. Zirla stood in her private chamber, staring at an old file. Captain Kade Moran, a human known for saving lives, not taking them. A medic, a pilot, and once her guest during a treaty summit. She remembered his voice. It had been calm, kind. But now, it was something else. "Commander," a voice came through the door. "What?" "We just lost contact with Supply Ship 7. How?" "Unknown. No explosion. No distress call." Zirla said nothing. She walked to the window again and whispered to herself, "He's not just alive. He's sending a message." Across the stars, on a hidden moon, something lit up. A human base. Small. Hidden. And not empty. Inside, more humans sat around a glowing screen. Kade's voice echoed from a speaker. "Phase 1 complete. She thinks I'm the last one." Someone laughed. A child looked up and asked, "Is it time, Uncle Kade?" He smiled. "Almost." The ghost commander Zirla paced across her command deck. No sleep. No rest. 3 more ships had gone dark overnight. No damage, no warning, just silence. Every time, the last thing seen was the same, a shadow. A figure, sometimes standing outside the ship, sometimes inside a hallway, always calm, always gone before anyone could speak. "We checked the vents," said her chief of security, "the airlocks, the shuttles, everything." And Zirla asked, "Nothing. No sign of how he enters or escapes." Zirla stared at the wall display. 3 ships marked in red. "He's not a man," the guard muttered. He's a ghost. Zirla turned sharply. He's a human, and humans bleed. But deep inside, she wasn't so sure. Across the fleet, fear began to spread. Soldiers refused to patrol alone. Crew members whispered stories. Some said he could walk through walls. Others said he never died to begin with, but no one saw him clearly, just a shadow. And the grin. Kade moved through the service tunnels of Ship 91A. He didn't run. He didn't hide. He walked slow, steady. His armor was patched with alien tech now, stolen parts. Silent and smooth. He reached the communication core. His fingers moved fast. He planted a chip. The light blinked green. A small voice crackled through his earpiece. Are you safe? It was a child's voice. Always. He whispered. Stay hidden. Stay warm. Okay? The child replied. You sound tired. Kade smiled. Just quiet. He finished the upload. Another warning would spread. A reminder. He was not gone. Back on the main warship, Zirla reviewed old files again. She watched a video from years ago. Kade, in uniform, standing beside her, shaking hands during a peace summit. He had laughed once. It wasn't cruel. It was warm. She paused the video. That laugh, it haunted her more than his silence now. Commander, her officer said. He just hit Ship 91A. How? Left a chip, played a message on every screen. What message? The officer cleared his throat. You should have finished the job. Zirla's hands tightened. She turned to her team. Enough. No more hiding. No more guessing. I want him cornered. Yes. Commander, they said. But they didn't believe her. Not anymore. Kade moved again. He didn't stay long. He never did. Each visit had a purpose. Leave a signal. Save a file. Plant a warning. Tonight, it was different. Tonight, he found something. A memory core from an old human vessel. Buried in alien storage. He pulled it out, wiped the dust off, and connected it to his suit. The screen lit up. And what he saw made his eyes narrow. He whispered. They lied. That night, one of Zirla's officers disappeared. No alarm. No scream. Just gone. The only thing left behind was a patch of his armor. It was placed carefully outside Zirla's room. No blood. Just silence. Xera picked it up with shaking hands. A small chip was inside. She inserted it into her desk screen. Kade's voice spoke. You trusted the wrong people. Back on the hidden moon, the child waited by the radio. Uncle Kade, she whispered. Did you find it? His voice came back, calm and tired. Yes, I found the memory core. What's inside it? The truth, he said. Is it bad? Kade paused. It's not what they told us. Zirla watched her screen all night. The files from the memory core appeared. Footage from years ago. She watched humans offering peace and being shot anyway. Orders from her own side. Betrayals. Lies. Her stomach twisted. Kade hadn't come back for revenge. He came back for truth, and maybe something worse. To forgive. A new signal flashed across the fleet. No images. Just words. I don't want to kill you. I want you to see. Soldiers argued in the mess hall. Maybe he's not our enemy. Maybe we started it. Maybe we believed the wrong side. Fear turned into doubt, and doubt turned into something the fleet hadn't felt in years. Regret. Xera sat alone in her chamber. For the first time, she didn't feel like a commander. She felt like a student, learning the past again. Kade wasn't a ghost. He was a mirror, showing her what she didn't want to see. In the shadows of Ship 88D, Kade watched a soldier trip and fall during a reactor. Fired. Instead of running, he pulled him to safety. And left without a word. The soldier looked up in shock. Why would he save me? But Kade was already gone. He didn't want war. He wanted memory. He wanted someone to ask what really happened. And now, Zirla was finally asking. The scar. 3 more days passed. 3 more ships lost power. No one died. No alarms went off. But when systems came back online, something new was always left behind. A message. A name. A scar. Burned into the wall. Simple. Sharp. Deep lines like an old human mark. Like someone remembering pain. Commander Zirla stood before one of them now. Her fingers brushed the metal. The scar was fresh. He was here, she whispered. The lights above flickered. Somewhere. A vent hissed. Kade was still moving through their ships. Not attacking. Not destroying. Just leaving pieces behind. On a cargo ship to sectors away. Kade worked quietly. His armor was dusty. His hands covered in old grease and smoke. He was fixing something, not breaking it. A hidden human signal node once destroyed was now glowing again. He checked the wires and whispered, "You still remember me, don't you?" The machine blinked. Green dot connection restored. A message blinked back from the hidden base. "Keep going. They're starting to question everything." In Zerula's command chamber, a council of war leaders appeared on her screen. "You are losing control," one general snapped. "He makes your ships look like fools." "He's one man," another said. "Why hasn't he been caught?" Zerula didn't answer right away. Instead, she pressed a button. The council watched as footage played. It showed Kade during the reactor fire, pulling an alien soldier to safety, covering him from falling debris, saving a life. They were silent. "You still think he's the enemy?" Zerula asked quietly. After the call ended, Zerula opened the sealed file, a file she had once hidden from everyone. It was a video log from a peace meeting before the war started. It showed her and Kade, both younger, both smiling, both standing on the same stage, shaking hands, a promise made, a promise broken. Her eyes filled with something strange. Not anger, shame. Meanwhile, in a storage deck deep in another ship, two soldiers found another scar burned into the floor. Beneath it, they found a memory crystal. They inserted it into a reader. Kade's single quotes S voice played. "This is the truth they didn't want you to see. They started the fire. They lit the match. We only tried to stop it." The soldiers looked at each other. "Do we tell the commander?" One nodded. "We have to." Later that night, Zerula sat at her desk, holding the crystal. She watched the memory play again and again. Human medics running into burning buildings to save alien children. Alien soldiers pushing those medics away, and then gunfire. Now from the humans. From her own side. She leaned back, heart heavy. He wasn't just showing the truth. He was giving her a chance. Kade sat on a broken satellite far from the fleet. He stared at the stars. The scar on his face old and deep-etched under the night wind. His hand rested on a necklace inside it, a photo, a child, smiling. Not his, but someone he promised to protect. Someone lost when the first attack came. He whispered, "You didn't die for nothing. They'll know. Even if it's just one of them, they'll know." The next day, Zerula did something no one expected. She sent a message, not to the fleet. Not to her officers. To him. "I saw the files. I saw the truth. I don't know what to believe anymore, but if you're not here to kill us, what are you here for?" The reply came into words. "To remember." One of Zerula's top guards spoke up later. "Commander, what if he's right? What if everything we were told was wrong?" Zerula didn't answer. Instead, she walked to the main hall. She stood before the giant symbol of her empire, a golden blade surrounded by flame. She looked at it, and then she turned her back on it. That night, in the dark hallway near her quarters, she found another scar. This one different. It was not sharp. Not angry. It was shaped like a hand. Her hand. Kade had traced it into the wall. And next to it, one word, "Listen." Zerula placed her hand over the mark. It fit. Asterisk the truth. Commander. Zerula walked alone through the lower decks of her ship. She had ordered her guards to stay back. The hallways were quiet. Dim lights buzzed above. She passed the scar again. The handprint. Kade left. Her hand still remembered how it fit. "Listen," he had written. And now she was trying. On the hidden moon, Kade watched the stars from a small hill. Behind him, a child played with a broken robot. A few other humans cooked food over a heat coil. This wasn't a military base. It was a home. A small, quiet home built by survivors. His voice crackled through a signal back to the fleet. "You think I came for war? I didn't. I came for the ones who can still hear." Zerula sat in her chamber and played one more hidden recording. This one was from her own side. A conversation between her generals before the first attack on Earth. "We can't trust humans," one said. "Better to strike first." "What about the peace agreement?" asked another. "Peace is weakness," came the cold reply. Zerula's hands shook as she stopped the playback. They had lied to her. To everyone. That night, she made a private call. Her voice was quiet. "Kade, are you listening?" A pause. Then, his voice came through the speaker. Calm, steady, always. "I want to talk," she said. "Talk or confess?" he asked. "Maybe both." They met on neutral ground, an abandoned medical ship floating between sectors. No weapons. No guards. Just to people with history. Xera arrived first. Her armor off. No crown, just simple clothes. Kade entered quietly, his eyes scanned the room. Not for danger, but for memory. He walked to a chair and sat across from her. No words for a long moment. Finally, she spoke. Why didn't you kill me? Kade looked up. You didn't pull the trigger that day, but I gave the order. Because they told you lies. Zirla lowered her head, and I believed them. Kade said nothing. After a moment, Zirla reached into her pocket and placed a small item on the table. A memory key. This holds every truth I found, she said. Every secret file, every betrayal. Kade stared at it. Then he nodded. I already have most of it, he said. But you needed to see it yourself. I did, Zirla whispered, and it broke something inside me. Good, Kade said softly. It means your heart still works. Back at the fleet, whispers grew. Soldiers began asking questions. Why were humans really attacked? Why was Kade still alive? And why was Commander Zirla missing for so long? Some believed she was captured. Some feared she had switched sides. But no one knew the truth. Yet, on the hidden moon, Zirla walked through the human colony for the first time. Children watched her with wide eyes. She nodded at each one. A woman handed her a bowl of food. Xera hesitated, then took it. She sat beside Kade near the small fire. They don't fear me, she said. They used to. He replied. Why not anymore? Kade poked the fire gently. Because they saw me forgive you. Zirla blinked. You forgave me? Not with words, he said, with trust. That night, Zirla looked at the stars above. So many lives gone. So many lies told. She closed her eyes and whispered, no more. The next morning, she sent a secret transmission to the fleet. Now an order. A message. I saw the truth. We were lied to, and the one we feared most. Saved a child from our own fire. Ask yourself this: who is the real enemy? Some soldiers erased the message, but some saved it. Shared it. Read it again and again. And one by one, minds began to change. Kade sat beside the young girl again, fixing her robot arm. Will they stop hunting us now? She asked. Some will, he said. And the rest? We make them remember, he said. Xera stood in front of a mirror that night. She didn't wear her command badge. Instead, she carved a small mark into her arm, a scar, to remind herself, not of war. But of truth. And far across space, a high-ranking alien general received her message. He stared at it. And then ordered her ship to be seized. Truth, he whispered, is dangerous. But it was too late. The fire had begun. Not a war. A question. And questions could not be stopped. The uprising Commander Zirla stood near the edge of the hidden moon, watching the sky behind her. Human children played in the dust. Adults moved carefully between old shelters and solar towers. No weapons, no guards. They weren't preparing for war. They were simply trying to live. Kade stepped beside her, his eyes on the stars. They've seen your message, he said. I know, Zirla replied. How long before they come? Not long. On the flagship, High General Tyrant read her words again. We were lied to. The truth is here now, and I cannot stay silent. He slammed his hand on the table. She's turned. He growled. Erase her. Erase the humans. Burn the moon to ash. Officers nodded, though a few looked away. Doubt had started to spread. But Tyrant didn't care. Send the elite unit. He ordered. Make her watch everything she saved. Die. On the moon, Zirla met with Kade, an old human pilot, and a young alien engineer who had joined them in secret. The fleet is moving, the pilot said. We intercepted the signal. They're coming with weapons charged. Zirla didn't flinch. We knew this might happen. What do we do? The young engineer asked. We don't fight, Kade said. Then how do we stop them? Kade looked toward the canyon where the children were playing. We make them see. As the alien warships approached, Zirla sent out a signal, not a warning, a message, a live broadcast from the moon's surface. It showed her standing among human families. Unarmed, she faced the camera. This is not a base, she said. This is not a threat. This is what peace looks like. The message reached thousands. Ships. Cities. Homes. Soldiers. Some paused. Some turned off the screen. But many watched. High General Tyrant roared. Cut the signal. We can't. A technician whispered. Too many are boosting it. Even inside his own command ship, officers began forwarding the message. Silently. Bravely. On the ground, a few human fighters gathered around Kade. We can't just wait. One said, if they attack, we die. Kade nodded. I know. He looked down at a metal box beside him. Inside it, a memory burst. Every file. Every betrayal. Every truth Zirla had given him. If we can't stop the missiles, he said, we give them this. The alien fleet entered the moon's orbit. Warships aimed. Fighters ready. And then, one ship didn't fire. A young captain stood still, watching Zirla's broadcast. His hand trembled. Commander, give the order, his officer said. The captain whispered, not yet. More ships followed. A slow ripple, a silent protest. One by one, they began to hold fire, but not all. Tyrant's personal strike cruiser charged its weapons. They had their chance, he said. Now we end them. He pressed the launch button. On the moon, alarm screamed. A missile was coming down faster than sound. Kade and Zirla stood together, eyes locked on the sky. There was no time to run. Get the children inside, Kade shouted. A human woman grabbed the memory box and ran. You should have left, Zirla said to him. You should have too, Kade replied. But just before the missile struck, a flash, a shield. A golden wall of energy appeared around the colony. One of the ships above the young captains had blocked the missile with its own ship. He sacrificed his cruiser to stop the strike. Fire lit up the sky. Then silence. The shield faded. People stared upward. No more missiles came. None. Inside Tyrant's ship, officers turned their weapons on him. This isn't war, one said. This is murder. He reached for his gun, but they stopped him. On the moon, the sky cleared. Ships began to land peacefully. Aliens stepped out. Not to fight, to understand. Xera looked around, her eyes full of quiet disbelief. They listened. Kade nodded. Some always will. She turned to him. You never wanted to win a war. No, he said. I wanted to win a future. The children came out of hiding. They ran into the field, laughing, free. The first sunrise broke through the clouds. For the first time in years, it felt like a beginning, not an ending, but deep in the galaxy. Others still watched. Others who did not want peace. Others who whispered, the humans are rising again, and they prepared. Not for war. For silence. The choice there was quiet after the attack. The sky still glowed from the ship that had sacrificed itself to block the missile. Kade stood on the edge of the field, his armor scratched, his boots dusty. Beside him, Zirla watched the sunrise with tired eyes. That captain, she whispered. He gave his life for strangers. Kade nodded. He gave his life for a choice. What choice? To protect or to obey? Inside the colony, families returned to their shelters. Human and alien children sat together, sharing food and stories. The fear in their eyes had begun to fade. Hope was growing, but danger still waited. Across the stars, in a hidden fortress, a small group of alien warlords met in secret. They're building unity, one of them said. If we don't stop it now, the humans and those who follow them will rise again. Then we crush them, another replied. And what if more join them? A third asked. A moment of silence. Then a voice whispered. Then we silenced their leaders. Back on the moon, Zirla received a warning. They're coming. She told Kade, a group from the outer factions. How many? Not a full army, just enough to target one thing. Me. She shook her head. Me. That night, Zirla stood before the colony. She spoke to them clearly. I used to be your enemy. I followed orders without question. I believed lies without proof. She paused, but I listened, and now I see. She looked down. They're coming for me, not because I fight, but because I stopped fighting. She looked up again, eyes strong, and still, I choose to stay. After her speech, Brent, the young human pilot, pulled Kade aside. We can still move her, Brent said. Get her out before they land. She won't run, Kade replied. Then we fight. Kade shook his head. Not like before, not with weapons. Then how? Kade looked at the sky, with a choice, the next day. The hostile ships arrived. Sleek, black, cold. No warning. No message. Just shadows. They landed near the canyon and sent soldiers marching forward. But when they reached the colony gates, something unexpected happened. Hundreds stood waiting. Not with guns. With linked arms. Human survivors. Alien engineers. Former soldiers. Children. Adults. Leaders. Even some of the elite unit from Zirla's old crew. All standing in silence. A wall of peace. The lead invader stepped forward. Move or be moved. No one spoke. No one moved. Xera stepped out from the center of the crowd. I'm the one you came for, The soldier raised his weapon, but another stepped beside him and lowered it. No, he said, this is not the way. Behind the invaders, more ships landed, but these ones carried aid workers, healers, journalists. Some who had seen Zerula's message and came to protect, not destroy. Now the attackers were outnumbered not by firepower, but by eyes. By voices. By truth. One invader dropped his weapon. Then another. Then more. Zerula walked slowly to the enemy commander. You still have a choice, she said. He looked around. He saw human children handing water to alien soldiers. He saw former enemies laughing under the same tent. He saw a world that should have been impossible, and he lowered his head. We were told you were dangerous. Zerula looked toward Kade. I was, she said, until someone reminded me who I was. The invaders turned back to their ships. No shots fired. No blood spilled. Just quiet footsteps fading into the dust. Later that evening, as the sky turned orange, Kade and Zerula sat near the canyon. He looked at her. You could have run. I know, but you stayed. So did you. He smiled faintly. I made a promise once to a child. She didn't live to see peace, but she believed it could happen. Zerula said softly. She was right. Behind them, the colony buzzed with life. A school was being built. A garden was planted. A scarred world. Healing. Choice by choice. Day by day. Kade looked at his old armor. Burned. Broken. Useless now. He left it on the rock and walked away without it. What now? Zerula asked. Kade looked up at the stars. Now we show them this can work. And far away, in dark corners of the galaxy, others still planned war. But now, they had something else to fear. Not a weapon, not a soldier. A choice. The echo many years passed. The moon that once hid broken humans and exiled aliens became something new. A city. A school. A place of peace. No one called it a colony anymore. They called it Haven. People from across the stars came to see it. Not just humans. Not just one species, all kinds. They came to see where the war ended, and where something better began. Kade walked slowly down a quiet pathline with glowing trees. His hair had grayed. His walk was slower now, but his eyes still held the same fire. Children ran past him, laughing. One boy stopped and saluted. Sir, are you really Captain Kade? Kade smiled. I was. Now I just grow flowers. The boy grinned. My teacher says you stopped the whole army with just a story. Kade knelt down. Not just a story, a memory, a truth. The boy asked, can I do that one day? You already are, Kade said. Just by listening, inside the central hall of Haven, a statue stood tall. It showed a human and an alien side by side, holding hands, standing on the broken edge of a warship. Underneath, carved in soft light, were the words. She said the last human was dead. Then he stood on the wing smiling, alive. People stopped to read those words every day, and they remembered. Xera became an ambassador. She traveled to other systems, speaking about truth, peace, and choice. Some called her a traitor. Others called her a hero, but most just called her the one who changed, and that was enough. One day, Zerula returned to Haven. She walked the paths again, now filled with life, color, and laughter. She found Kade sitting near the canyon, his eyes closed, listening to the wind, still watching the sky. She asked, always, he said, it taught me how to survive. She sat beside him. You know, she said, some still plan to fight. They always will. What do we do about them? Kade looked out at the stars. We remind them who we are. A small girl walked up to them, holding a notebook. Ambassador Zerula, Captain Kade. They smiled. We're not captains anymore, Zerula said. The girl handed them the notebook. I'm writing a story, she said. For class, it's about the last human. Kade raised an eyebrow. Am I the last one again? The girl giggled. No, but that's how the story starts. Zerula asked, how does it end? The girl read aloud, and when he stood on the wing, they knew the story wasn't over. Kade's eyes softened. That's a good ending, thanks. The girl said, my mom says stories are like seeds. She's right, Zerula said. Plant the right ones, and they grow forever. In the years that followed, Haven became more than a city. It became a voice. Its message traveled across space, carried by stories, images, and memory crystals. People who once hated paused. People who once feared thought again, because someone had stood on a wing once and smiled. In a distant part of the galaxy, an old soldier stood before a group of new recruits. He pointed to a screen showing Zerula and Kade. These two didn't win with weapons, he said. They won with truth. A recruit asked, Sir, is it really true? She said the last human was dead. The old soldier nodded. She said it. Then he smiled. And then he slid into view live. The recruits laughed out, but the message stayed. In time, more leaders changed. More walls fell. Not all died, but enough to turn war into silence. And silence into peace. Kade's single quotes as body grew old. But his spirit stayed sharp. He wrote journals. Not of battles. But of choices. One day, he wrote, we thought we had to win with power. But in the end, it was memory. It was honesty. It was the small voices that saved us. On his last day, Kade sat near the canyon again. Xera stood beside him, ready to go. She asked. Not yet, he said, waiting for something. He smiled gently, just listening. The wind carried voices through the rocks. Laughter. Song. The sound of children learning. It echoed across the land. And far beyond the stars. In the quiet of deep space, someone whispered the old line again. Finally, the last human is dead. But another voice answered softly, no, he lived. And because of him, so did we.